Hello, my name is Rev, and I enjoy experimenting. So, what I've got here is 20 mil of my part A of my SRC Color Pro Semi-Clear Polyurethane, and I have added in a little bit of Silk Blue mica powder from HTV Ranch. And I'm getting this mixed into the part A before I mix in part B, so I actually have time to get it mixed in. So now we're going to add in part B. Boom. And mix, mix, mix. So I have an idea that I want to try, and it requires me making a very cliche beach scene in a coaster. Sorry, it was out of focus there for a minute. I apologize, because my big fat hand was in the way. So just getting this mixed up until I feel it start getting warm, and there it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get this poured into my geode coaster mold. Look at that color, isn't it beautiful? I love it. I'm getting that silk blue. Here, I'll show you. Silk blue from HTV Ranch. I got it on Amazon about a million years ago. I say that, it's about a year ago, I guess, when I first started doing resin. And so I'm just going to let that cure, and I will be back when it is done, and we will get on with another experiment. I used the polyurethane for the base layer because I'm impatient, and this stuff cures in about 10 minutes. So I will see you soon. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to do its thing, I made up 20 mil of just my regular 1:1 resin. I took about 10 mil of it and put it over here, and I'm going to be adding some Alumilite white resin dye. Just going to do 2 small drops, or 1 big drop. And I'm going to get that mixed in. Now, the reason I am doing this experiment is because I want to see if it's possible. Alright, so that is looking good. So what I'm going to add is silicone oil. Not a ton, just a little bit. 4 little drops. And mix that in. And I want to get it mixed in really well, so I'm going to mix, mix, mix. Now what I'm going to do is, this is done, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the rest of my clear on here. And just let that start moving and grooving. And where's my other spoony doodle? I can't find it. Alright, so let's scrape this out. Move it around. Just let it go all over. Just a thin layer. Nothing fancy. Thin, thin. Okay. So while that is settling into all of the little crevasses, keep stirring. Because that oil is heavy. And I just want to make sure that it's stirred in all well. Okay, now one thing that I did not do is make sure that my heat gun is plugged in, and it's not. So let me go ahead and plug that in. And get that at the ready. Move some stuff out of the way. Let's give it one last stir. Okay, I'll switch over to my good hand. Pour that. And do a couple of different little wavy niblets. Heat gun. And would you look at that? Successful experiment. I don't have ocean white. I don't have anything fancy or special. I just happen to have silicone oil and white pigment paste. And I got cells. So now what I'm going to do, then I know that it worked, is get my decorative sand. And I am going to take little sprinkles of decorative sand and put it down at the bottom of my experiment. One thing that I've also found is, you know how sometimes we add a bit more resin than we mean to when doing sand? I have found that if I take I have a dedicated sieve for crafting. It's a fine sieve. I just found it in the kitchen aisle. But I have found that if I pour my sand resin mixture into the sieve with a container underneath it, of course, to catch the extra resin, the sandy bits will stay at the top in the sieve part, and the majority of the extra resin will fall through into the catching receptacle of choice. So just a little niblet of information there. Don't know how useful it will be to anyone, but you never know, so I thought I would share. So now that I have my little beach and my little waves, I mean, seriously, come on now. Couldn't be any easier than that. What I also have is various and sundry shaped glitter. So what I'm going to do is, I know that there are little stars in here. There's little flower shapes and hearts and stuff. But there's some teeny tiny little stars. So what I'm going to do is attempt to pick these up with my tweezers, which admittedly is not very easy to do because they are very wee. I'm just going to put little starfish. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can. Okay. I'm just going to put little stars, little starfish. Now I have shells that I could add, but they're very big and bulky. Well, not huge, but they're bigger than what I would want for this. So I'm just going to use my tiny sheet shells for my tiny starfish. Get down there. Stay. Thank you. There we go. Just very subtle. You know, nothing fancy. Nothing big, huge. Yes, I said big, huge. Something that my daughter would say when she was little. Everything was big, huge. So next, I think what I'm going to do is add just a tiny bit of holographic glitter, but I don't think I want this color. So what I'm going to do is look to see if I can easily find, which I can't, my bag of sparkly shit. So these are just little, like, iridescent glass beads. I'm just going to add those around the edges just to give the illusion of, you know, bubbles on the edge of the water without going too overboard. I'm not one of those people that, you know, I use glitter occasionally and whatnot, but I'm not one of those people that goes overboard. You know that. There's a big difference between well done and gaudy, in my opinion. So, at any rate, successful experiment, I think. What do you guys think? Huh? Won't be much of a reveal because, ta-da. But what do you guys think of the process? You know, the whole, let me scoot you a bit further here so you can see. You know, the pigment paste and silicone oil. So if you happen to have those, but you don't have, you know, ocean white or anything like that, easy sells. Ta-da. 10 mil of resin, which was way too much for this particular project. 2 drops of white pigment and 4 drops of silicone oil. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments, and I will see you again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.